Vlog time, everyone. Welcome to July of the weirdest year ever. Certainly, if you'd asked me last October about what I thought would be happening in July, this was not it on many, many levels. But I figured today we could talk about something that's actually really important, partially because it's important, and partially because many of us are coming off of breaks and hoping to get back into agility and trialing or start trialing. And we need to make sure that we have fit dogs, because things have been different and maybe they haven't had their usual workout. Plus, we now have a little more time on our hands, perhaps, to do some things differently. So one of the things I've done in this recent pandemic was I've set up a little doggy gym. We have this unused big garage on our property, so I put footing in it, nice good footing for them to grip, and I got my act together with some gym materials. Now, when I say gym materials, it's really, really important that none of this is what I would consider a trick. Like, I'm not gonna do any of this stuff that looks really crazy because it's not functional and actually might do more harm than good, particularly in the hands of someone who doesn't really know what they're doing, which would be me. There is a huge amount of fitness in the canine world right now, and there's also a huge amount of certifications, and that is a little bit concerning to me because we really don't know what hands-on experience these people have or what they're learning or how good they are. So I encourage you to be super, super, super picky in two ways. One, the people you work with, make sure they're experienced, high rate of success with people that you know, with dogs similar to yours, sports dogs, and they need to have a high rate of education. And so I tend to lean more towards the veterinary rehab people who've been doing it for a long time, because I'm getting a really consistent message for all of them. We'll talk about that in a minute. And they're doing things that are easy for me to do with good form as I learn how to have good form with it. And it's in line with what I know about human exercise. And so that's one way that you can be super picky. The other way that you can be super picky is it's gotta be functional, it's gotta be strengthening and conditioning stuff without being a fancy trick. There's a lot of things out there that look fancy and cool, but when you talk to an experienced rehab veterinarian or rehab professional, because they're not all vets, they will tell you the same thing, that a lot of the stuff out there right now is non-functional, meaning it doesn't really help, and in fact it could be detrimental, and it could also actually go really wrong in the hands of just your average sport pet owner like us. And that includes the things like where the dogs are jumping back and forth between inflatables, or they're on a holder and they're doing things. If the dog slips, oh my God, there's an injury waiting to happen. So what I mean by functional is the dog is moving in a natural movement that you see in life and in sport. So stuff like the single leg lifts that I'm doing with Hot Sauce, the backing up, isolates the hind end, hamstrings, strengthens the shoulder. You can see I've got my cavalettis going. That's part of her proprioception for balance and movement. That's totally something they need in life and sport. I do have some inflatables and some paw pods, but those are not things that I've been told to like have, pile 6 of them up and have her stand on all of them. Or with the paw pods, like we don't do hyperextensions and like crisscrosses. You don't want to do anything that will stress small muscles, tendons, ligaments, and you also don't want to do anything that's just really unnatural. And that includes things like the backwards up the walls, where their back feet are way up on a wall and their front feet are on the ground. That's all definitely something to rule out based on what we're hearing from the great people in the industry. And other things to rule out are the crazy sit pretty on unstable surfaces. If the dog is doing something weird with their body, that's some type of trick looking thing, you shouldn't do it. And the other thing is, if it's really hard to get the dog to do it, then perhaps it's really uncomfortable, or maybe they're hurting and you shouldn't be doing it. So a lot of what I'm doing, and I'll share with you as I go through it, is completely functional fitness, yet done correctly the way they're trying to teach me to do it, or as correctly as I can. The dog is getting a workout. She ends her little sessions with her tongue hanging out. So that is something to think about. What do you have at home and what are you incorporating in your daily routine? I also have, 14 acres. I'm really lucky in that I can just, take the dogs for a hike, but that's not necessarily balanced fitness. With Hot Sauce, she goes on a lot of leash walks with me on normal flat surfaces, grass, maybe some asphalt. I've got some hills that we're now starting to incorporate. And we've got some uneven surfaces where the farmers mow the hay and all that fun stuff. She hasn't been on a romp in the woods in a while because it's just not something she's strong enough for right now. Now I'm holding a Kong toy here. You're probably like, why is she clutching a Kong toy? And it's because part of getting good fitness and a good workout for the dog is getting great body position. So on some of this stuff I'm doing, part of my learning curve is figuring out how exactly she should be standing and where her head is. So I'm using either a stick of cheese that she can lick, or I've got peanut butter and a Kong toy. And a lot of it is very lured, not because I'm trying to get a behavior, but because I'm trying to get proper form. Now, wouldn't it be nice if I went to the gym and the, workout people were like, here's your ice cream cone, just lean this way? It'd be awesome. But with the dogs, we can do that. You can have something to lure them into position. And when the movement needs to be slow, because a lot of this movement and strengthening should not be explosive or fast, then having a lure in front of her really slows everything down so she can do the behavior slowly and I can think about proper form. You and us are all used to getting fast, explosive behaviors from the dogs, but that is not what any of this fitness should be. So trying to convince Hot Sauce to go slowly in her position changes or backing up or weaving through my legs or through cavalettis or whatever, that is not easy. And so that is why there's often a lure in her face. It's more of a target for position. Do I need any of these behaviors to hold up under pressure with no reinforcement in my hand, just on stimulus control at any point in the future? I really don't. So I'm very happy to have something, Kong toy, string cheese, that helps control the position of the head. And if I can control the position of the head, then I can do a much better job of getting balanced form in the rest of the body, because each of these exercises has a little bit more about balanced form. Every time Hot Sauce has a workout in our little gym, I am under strict instructions to warm her up. And that is actually great advice because a lot of us do these things without nearly enough warm-up. So here is the warm-up routine. As soon as we exit the house, we start with 1 minute, just a light walk, just getting blood in the muscles, followed by a 5-minute brisk walk where she is trotting, and in order to get that, I need to trot. So we're both a little warmed up by then. I spared you the pain of having to watch that because 6 minutes of us trotting is probably not that exciting. But then here are the other elements of the warm-up. Yes. Stand. Yes. Sit. Yes. Stand. Good. Down. Good. Break. Yes. Down. Down. Good. Break. Yeah. Break. Break. Yes, that one was very, very good. Good girl. Yes, it's right there. Now, if I was going to go run an agility course, after this warm-up, I would then go to an explosive warm-up, which is fast recalls on the flat, some up and down, jumping things. That's where we have the quick, explosive movements to make sure the dog is really warmed up for that sport. Hot Sauce is not ready for that yet in her strengthening program, but before you guys run courses and stuff, make sure that you add that in. The things that I do are, I'll leave the dog in a stay and do a recall. or I'll have them starting to sit and then just stand up with their front feet on me. All that type of quick explosive movement, nothing slow, to help them really be able to get the quick twitch muscles going as well. And here's a little bit more of her workout program. It's your turn now. Set aside some gym time for you and the dog every other day, every 2 days, every day, as long as you work different body parts. What can you incorporate into your dog's daily routine to help strengthen them and help them become a very, very balanced agility partner?